Ownership is a different thing now. I think for some of us that are older, it might have been even physical possession at the time. Certainly in the 80s, it was excessive ownership. Now it's maybe less ownership, more access, right? And the lines of, like I said, discretion are blurring. We've got communities that have not the best interest of organizations and individuals in so many ways now. The speed of that is so much faster. To conduct a physical crime in the 70s or 80s, you had to use physical force, took a long time, very physically dangerous, could get shot. Yeah. Right now, the...
Check fraud?
Yeah, right, exactly.
The classic criminological distinction would be that there are only two types of crime: crimes of force and crimes of fraud. Either you do it by deception and stealth, or you do it by overwhelming physical power.
So what about, so now there's also a distortion in the risk reward, right? I mean, somebody hacking their way in from Russia into an American bank, how likely is it for them to get caught, right? And then we've got organizations that have built their infrastructures on information technology, and they cannot do without them now, right? You call up an airline and they say, well, we can't make your reservation now because our system is down, and you think, well, I'm never going to fly you again, right?
But aren't they doing those companies a favor by showing how vulnerable their systems are?
Well, I'm sure there are some that would rationalize it that way.
Classic kind of black hat
exactly.
rationalization.
Sure, I should have been a hacker.
We're showing you how, so we're doing you a favor in the long run.
That person who mugged you on the way did you a favor in showing how you should have done it.
That's right.
You really should have been.
But they're the kind of people that the conventional organizations then employ once they've gone legit.
Well, we talked about that. None of the offending parties actually think they're offending anything when they do it.
But that's what I'm saying.
Right?
The boundaries have become blurred.
Exactly.
As to what's right and what's wrong.
Well, I think that's always been the case with offending behaviour.
Sure.
I think the issue with kind of ICTs and related technologies is it changes the state of play in terms of rule-breaking, law-breaking behaviour or victimising others, because A, you have action at distance, you have potentially anonymity,
Right.
and the internet works and related technologies work as force multipliers, i.e. you don't have to defraud people one at a time by going door to door. You can try and defraud 50 million people simultaneously through a coordinated attack running at the same time. You put those three things together and you effectively amplify the impact of things. So I can be victimised within my own home, locked between my four walls with a burglar alarm on, via that thing, or via the thing in my pocket. And it can be nobody has to come and find me to do it. They can do it from the other side of the planet.
Conversely, it adds to the seduction for those who are oriented to do that kind of thing, doesn't it? It makes
on a purely risk-reward basis.
Right, absolutely.
Rational kind of choice.
It's completely skewed off now.
What can I get from this? And what are my chances of getting nabbed and pain and pleasure? Yeah.
So how should corporations who read the kind of magazines I write for look at this? Because you've got
Thank you for asking.
people saying, "Oh, buy this software and protect your organisation," but is it really as simple as that?
So one strategy would be the Mote and Drawbridge strategy. But if you want to go get the post, if you want to go get some milk, it's awfully inconvenient just to go out and every day to do something like that, right? One of the strategies that I'm sure your readers have to think about is the absolute impenetrable defense strategy, which we already know is incomplete, because we already know they're getting APTs, we already know they're getting phished, we already know they're getting in. So is perimeter defense, absolute perimeter defense, feasible, logical, or even sane now, knowing that it really is not a question of if, it's a question of when, isn't it?
And could it be somebody inside?
Could be somebody inside as well. inadvertent.
If all your data's in the cloud.
It's more likely to be inside than outside. I mean, the latest studies, the kind of CERT people and Carnegie Mellon, their latest study shows again, they survey kind of American business, and they find that most report in terms of the damages incurred, they come more from insider intrusions, exfiltration of data, for example, from the inside rather than from what's usually publicized, the idea of kind of hackers, downloading malware.
Well, one of the most damaging studies showed one of the most damaging traits is that the perpetrators are able to get in and exfiltrate the data much more rapidly than organizations are able to detect it. So they get in seconds and days, and it takes them days and weeks to exfiltrate the data, but organizations don't find out about it for weeks and months.
18 months is the average that malware sits on your system before it's spotted. And you don't spot it, somebody else does, one of your customers. You don't even find it.
And they don't even go after the crown jewels right away. They'll go in, cover the tracks, close the door behind them, and sit and wait. And just wait and watch. And then find a way to get to what they want. And then, so what do we tell your readers?
Well, again, it depends which of your readers and what their risk appetite is, what their crown jewels are, and where their priorities lie. Then comes things like how big's their budget. Some people are willing to risk loss because the cost of preventing it is higher than the value of what they're going to lose. And that's a valid strategy if you've done the sums as opposed to by default.
If you build that into your business model, as long as the failure isn't catastrophic, then you just write it off as a normal cost.
Well, it's like
business.
theft for retail, right?
Yeah.
You know it's going to happen. You just do it.
You build it into the price.
Yeah, if you had people with machine guns on all the doors of all the shops, there'd probably be less theft. But
less shoppers. So it's a case of working out what you need to protect. You can't protect everything.
Well, I'll give you two different examples from my speaking with different kinds of organizations. One had much more pressure from the business side than the security side. And their joke was, if you change jobs 7 times within this company, you'll have access to every system we have.
right.
But we have no idea how long it takes to get you out when you quit. So, and it was a research-based pharma.
Right.
Not good.